I just had a 45-minute political conversation with someone I care about and love very much, but disagree with vehemently on all things politics. We just don't see the world. We don't see news. We don't see facts the same way. We just experience things differently. And you know what? We didn't fight. We didn't argue. I didn't get all boiled over. And that is a result of years of hard work on my part. There are a lot of people in my world that I don't agree with, and I don't agree with vehemently. And it was always a problem, especially if they were calm and I was getting a little crazy because I'm supposed to be Zen Master Flash. But we had this conversation, and we ended lovingly, and we ended with agreeing on quite a few things, and disagreeing on some things. But basically, relationship absolutely intact, trust intact. And that's a result of something that I really learned over the last several years. And that's that there are more than two sides to every story. So right now in the news, things are happening in Israel between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And if you think it's just the Palestinians and the Israelis, you got another thing coming. There's a lot of players that are involved in all of this stuff. Then, in the United States, the politics that are happening right now, the things that are happening that are appalling to so many of us, no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, no matter which side of the quote, air quote, truth you're on. It is just appalling what we're seeing. And for me, when we talk about Black Lives Matter and police lives matter, and we have these conversations, we're told to pick a side. We're told to choose. So you're either pro-Israel or pro-Palestinian. You can't be nuanced in any way, shape, or form. The police are either horrible, or they're our protectors. The Black Lives Matters people are either a terrorist organization or they're freedom fighters. We don't, there's no room for nuance in the political conversation. And this podcast is not about the political situation, and it's not about the Middle East, and it's not about any of those things. It's about our personal lives and the conversations that we have. See, what I've learned over the last few years in really dialing up my curiosity on these explosive topics, really dialing in my curiosity, trusting the person that I'm across from, who I've loved for years, and that's lots of people who just don't see things the way I do, to listen to what they're saying, to understand why they think the way they do, why they see things the way they do. Again, that has been agony for me. It has been a slow death. You want to talk about enlightenment and the death of the ego? Having these conversations and listening with an open heart and an open mind has really changed me quite a bit. Doesn't change my opinions, doesn't change my worldview and what I see, but it has me question everything and has me question what I see so that I can at least come closer to some semblance of the truth. So one of the analogies I often make is that I see the cup as green, and the other person sees the cup as black. I see it as green. You can't tell me it's not green. It is green. I look at it, it's green. And the other person sees the cup and it's black, and you can't tell them it's not black. The truth is that the cup is probably gray or blue or bluish green or yellowish green. Like, we don't really see what it is. So there's no two sides to this story. There's just perception. So what has that got to do with our daily lives? For me, that's really opened my heart and opened my mind to curiosity and connection when I'm hurt, when I feel slighted, when I feel that someone isn't understanding me, or when someone does something that I think is wrong. It has me pause for a moment. There's my side, there's their side, there's the truth. So there's three sides already. There's my side, there's their side, and there's the truth. 9 times out of 10, I don't really know what the truth is, especially when it comes to motivations and what happened in the past. Then there's a myriad of shading. There's gray area that is nuanced, right? So if we go to the politics, for me, it just pains me because I know police officers. I know what the dedication they bring to the job. I know the dangers that they face. I know the stress on their families. And it is, like, how can we ask anybody to do something like that in the world? So, my heart is open for police officers. I also know plenty of people, myself included, who have been abused by bad police officers. I had a dislocated shoulder, um, and there's nuance in all of that, and the fact that society wants to force us to pick a side, pick black and white. And I don't mean that as far as racially concerned. It's either black or white. It's either yes or no. It's either up or down. Really doesn't give us an opportunity to come together. So what do? For me, whether it's a political conversation, whether it's a religious conversation, whether it's just a conversation about where to go to dinner or whether a restaurant is good or not, is to take a deep breath. And everything starts with a deep breath, not from my chest, not even from my diaphragm, all the way down in my belly. I take a deep breath and I slow down. And I get into relationship with whoever I'm talking to. And relationship isn't about talking. Relationship is about vibration. It's about connecting. And it's about opening your heart and opening your mind. So I do that. I sit there and I take a breath in, because my trigger is probably going to be up, even if it's who has the best hamburger in the world. Of course, it's Five Guys, right? And then someone else is going to go In-N-Out Burger. No, it's Five Guys, In-N-Out Burger. So the normal human tendency is to defend our position, black and white, yes and no, two sides to the story. The truth is there are more than three sides to every story. And the goal for me, if I want to be in relationship, is to find out more about what someone else is thinking, be really, really curious, be open-hearted, trust their motivations, and ask questions. To let go of being right, even though my body and my ego is just raring to jump up and do that. And then I learned something. I learned something really, really profound. I went to get a haircut the other day, and it was from an Egyptian gentleman, and he started to school me on what was going on in the Middle East. And his was not just a third perception, it was like 15th perception that I've heard, something I've never heard before ever in my life. And he was such a loving and kind and open-hearted man. And as he was speaking, he was speaking what he experienced back in the 60s and 70s when he was growing up, and in the 80s, and then in the 90s, and when he finally left in the 2000s, firsthand. It was really a new perspective, and I just had to breathe. And there were times when I wanted to disagree with this man, and I'm like, I wasn't even there, and I wanted to disagree with this man. So again, I use all this political stuff as a backdrop, but this happens in all our conversations. It happens with taking out the garbage, feeling slighted that you asked someone to take out the garbage, but they didn't take out the garbage. So of course they disrespected you, and for them, they were like, just missed it. Sorry. So, being curious, having a conversation, talking about your feelings, like, not that they're facts. It's just, this is how I feel. This is how I felt when that happened. And then say, what did you make more important than taking out the garbage? What happened there? What can I do to remind you to do that? Because it's important for me that you take out the garbage when I ask. I feel heard and loved. Have those conversations, but get insanely curious. So again, the steps are: take a deep breath, center yourself, open your heart, open your mind, pet the ego, which is like a tiger ready to pounce, and just tell it to be a good boy or girl, and sit back so that you can listen. And then try and be in relationship. You may not agree. We can disagree and still be in love. We can still disagree and be friends. We can still disagree and move ahead as a society, but it's got to start in our everyday relationships. Whew. Always, this one's going to be a rough one to press send on, but I love you guys a ton. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of the day.